Some people have been bullied. Some people are just stressed out. Some people are insecure. Some people are fat and overweight. I call myself fat because I was fat. And people don't want to do that. They want to say, oh, don't call yourself fat. Don't call yourself dumb. If you're not real and raw with who the f you are, nothing's going to change.
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm hoping to do things a little differently and start something of a series where I would recommend a book that I've just read. I'm hoping to call it That Book I Read Last Week. That we can work on it. Anyways, for today's recommendation of the book I read last week is called You Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, and yes, today is the next day. Hence the hair. I mean, just to give you a brief background of who David Goggins is. It's amazing, this guy. So I'm just gonna read out a little bit about him. So he is an American ultra marathon runner, ultra distance cyclist, a triathlete, motivational speaker, and an author, which is the book. He is a former United States Air Force Tactical Air Control Party member. I had to Google that. And a retired Navy SEAL. This man is the epitome of what happens if you just decide to tell your mind, I'm not gonna quit. And it is just so motivating to read his book. However, I would like to explain a little bit more about the man before we get to his book. Who better to explain the life of a person than the person himself? So I'm just gonna play a few clips of him, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
How'd you become that guy?
You know what? I grew up not that guy.
Yeah.
So a lot of people put a title on me. They want to, they see me now. They see me now as the guy that with his shirt off, who can do 4,030 pull-ups in 17 hours, who can run 205 miles in 39 hours, who can do all this crazy shit. But what they don't understand is they don't understand the journey that it took me to get to this point. And what got me to this point was I was just the opposite of what I am today. My dad beat the shit out of me, beat the shit out, out of my mom. There was an incident one time when my mom got knocked out on top of the stairs, and he drug her down the stairs by her hair. And at 6 years old, I'll never forget this. In my mind, I was always afraid. My whole life I was afraid. And I have a big time learning disability because my dad didn't believe in us going to school. So when I went to school, I was all kind of, my learning disability, I had social anxiety. I was just a jacked up kid from living in this tortured home. And in 1995, the KKK marched in the 4th of July parade. So me being one of the few black kids in that, in that area, it kind of haunts you. I had stuff on my notebook, we're gonna kill you, on my Spanish notebook. They had that on my car, we're gonna kill you. This is early 90s. And so even though I showed it didn't hurt me, it was jacking me up. So all the insecurities I had when I was a kid with my father, I moved into this area here, and it just got worse and worse and worse. And copied from the 4th grade to my junior year in high school on every assignment. And I wanted to get in the military, wanted to join the Air Force, and the guy gave me an ASVAB test. It's like a watered down SAT. And I couldn't copy on it because the guy beside me had a test A, I had test B, the guy on my right had test C. So I looked to copy on this test and I couldn't copy on it, so I got like a 20. And I wanted to be an Air Force pararescueman. And my score was so horribly low that I'd retake it again. And he said, hey, I got like an 18 the second time, even worse. I need to get a 50 out of a 99. My mom afforded enough money for me to go to see a tutor one hour a week. So for 4 hours a month, I had 6 months to study for my last test. I could only take the ASVAB test 3 times. And I studied my ass off and passed it. And I got in the Air Force and realized there was more things in front of me. From the age of 19 to the age of 22, I went and did a job called TAC-P, where you control fast movers behind enemy lines. Cool job, but there's no water. I was afraid of the water, so I avoided it. And I gained 125 pounds in that time frame. I went from 175 to almost 300, to 297 was my heaviest. And I started finding things that was comfortable. So I got out of the Air Force, and I started working for a job called Ecolab, where you spray for cockroaches at 24. And spraying at different steak and shakes, Red Lobster, whatever, from 11 o'clock at night to 7 o'clock in the morning. I was watching these guys going through Hell Week, class 224, and these guys ringing the bell, quitting, dropping their helmet down, rolling out. A lot of guys just leaving. And it made me reflect on my fears, my insecurities. And I saw real men, what I thought were real men who were staying, who were overcoming adversity, who were overcoming all these different things that I had blamed so many people in my life, my dad, my mom for not being there. When I was 14 years old, my mom was gonna get remarried to this great guy. He got murdered. I had two options: to either be that 300-pound guy who sprayed for cockroaches and made $1,000 a month, and at 24 years old, knowing when I'm 50 fucking years old, I can reflect on this and think about what guy I never became, or I can totally just sack it up and fail and fail and fail until I succeed. So I started calling recruiters up. I said, I'm gonna go be a fucking Navy SEAL. To get into the class I had to get into, I had to lose 106 pounds in less than 3 months. So I was like, Dad, I can't do that. I grabbed my chocolate milkshake and went back to Ecolab. I'm going back to work, man. This is my life. I don't like cockroaches too much. I hit the mother load of cockroaches. And this restaurant got full of cockroaches and rodents and everything else. And I sat there and said, this is my life. And I said, this ain't gonna be it for me. So in that restaurant, I quit my job, left my canister in that restaurant, my spray canister, got back in my Ecolab truck, and I went home. And I started working out like somebody, I became the most obsessed person on the planet Earth. And I was basically, I had to invent a guy that didn't exist. I had to invent a guy that can take any pain, any suffering, any kind of judgment, be called whatever the fuck in the world, and be able to stand in a room and say, go fuck yourself. If it was raining outside at 3 o'clock in the morning, if it was snowing, the first instinct is don't go out there and do it. My instinct was, we gotta fucking go out there. Anything that was horrible in my life that I would normally say no, that was inhumane to most people, I had to go do it. I lost the weight and I went back to recruiter. I got into that class and I went through 3 Navy SEAL Hell Weeks in 1 year. Only guy to ever be in 3 Hell Weeks in 1 year, to my knowledge. And I started realizing through this process that the mind is what you created. And I started opening different doors that I didn't think were even there, that I didn't think even existed. And the more doors I opened up, the more I started realizing that my potential is damn near endless. And it changed my whole mindset. So I went from David Goggins and I created Goggins. If anybody knows my life story, and I'll try to give you just a snippet of it, where I'm at today is in front of Joe Rogan telling you my life. To get through where I became, to get through where I'm at now, there's nothing but pride I have for myself that I can't really show people. Because I have this face that they see like, are you happy? What's wrong with you? I'm driven, I'm obsessed. And that's what you see. That's it. I was obsessed with Rocky. Rocky 1 in particular. When Apollo Creed beat the shit out of Rocky, beat the shit out of him, he kept fighting. He was a dumb fighter, couldn't read, that was me. Couldn't read, couldn't write, just punchy, everything about him. And Rocky beat Apollo shit out of him. He was in that corner, everybody was saying, stay the down. And him getting up, Apollo Creed raised his arms up in the air, turned around, thought he won the fight. He turns around and sees this guy getting up, and it was the face of Apollo Creed that changed my life. Just by him getting the up. Apollo Creed was champ, he was the best. Rocky had taken his soul, had literally taken his soul. His head goes down, he looks at him like, what are you? I kept picturing me falling down and getting up, and every fucker that called me here, I was dumb. Even myself, I wanted to feel something besides defeat. I wanted to just go the distance. And that going the distance pushed me to a point of where now I go way past the distance. One of the recruiters said there's not many black Navy SEALs. Matter of fact, I was the 36th African-American SEAL in history. It's in over 70 years. And that what if mentality, like that dreamer mentality just would always fuel me. It would just fuel me, man, what if I can be a SEAL, man? What if I can go from running a quarter of a fucking mile, now I run 205 miles? What if I can go? What if I can go? And what if, how would that feel if I'm graduating? Because I'll never forget at the graduation thing I was talking about, 224, like the video I sat down and watched. This commanding officer stood up and he said to the graduation, guys who are graduating buds, like 18 of them, he said, we live in a society where mediocrity is often rewarded. And he went on to say something about these men detest mediocrity. And I wanted to be a man that detests mediocrity. It got me in a lot of trouble in the SEAL teams and going forward in my life, because I started looking down on people for not going hard as and I started to create different things, but that's for a different day. But I just believed that, my whole mind changed.
Whoa. So please be sure to hit that like button if that really inspired you. I know it did to me. So just let me know down below. So please be sure to check out his book, You Can't Hurt Me, as well. That goes into much more detail about all the obstacles that he overcame. And I mean, I still haven't finished that, but it is definitely something worth reading. That's what I've been doing for the last week or so. I've just been reading his book, which has been so good. Yeah, guys, so that's the review for the book that I read last week. I didn't give much thoughts on it myself, but I think after watching all of his inspirational quotes, all of his experiences, I'm sure we all have a lot to learn from him. Yeah, so please be sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and please click that subscribe button as it really helps me out. And I will see you in the next video. Ciao.